Okay, Robin, this is how I've got it wired. First off, I've got 12 volt to run the actual mount, running through a long wire across the ground, hooking up to that long wire, going up to my power supply. So that's 12 volts coming off of that, and it feeds the mount. Then I've got the hand controller, which is now the EQ, what the hell is it? EQ mod cable, and that's running into this loom here, plastic loom, along with a 12 volt wire here from a wall wart up here. And those two wires are the only wires that go between the mount and the telescope, and they're plugged into the Nook right here. So I have the Nook's power supply, that's that 12 volt feed from down below, and up here I have the EQ mod cable, and that's it. So this one cable is the only light piece of cable wrapped in this wire loom, or whatever you want to call it, so that it's not going to tangle. And there's tons of, I've got like 5 feet of this, so not a problem there. And I haven't hooked up the power supply hub yet. I will when I use it to power a dew heater, but otherwise I've got the Nook thing, and plugged into it I have this one would be the focuser, the camera, and the guide scope right here. There's the guide scope, the camera, and this wire is ridiculously long, so I ran it over there and have it all tied up so it can't move. There, let me move to the other side. And over here I just have that wire, short wire, going to the focuser. So everything is nice and clean and can't possibly get tangled around if this thing should ever screw up. And the Wi-Fi in the Nook allows me to broadcast into the house with no wires. This one, however, I don't have a Nook, so I run one extra wire. And this one I am using the second hub I've got there. That hub runs everything, including my, I got a USB hub here. And that USB hub is where everything's plugged into. And that comes down, and it's just this USB wire. So I've got 3 wires. One of them's a power wire to power everything up here. One's an EQ mod that goes from the mount, just like the other one. And that's plugged into this USB hub. And then I have plugs going for the focuser, the guiding camera, and the big camera. And that's it. But you'll notice that it's all relatively, oh yeah, and I got heaters on this everywhere. A heater on this scope, that, so no dew on that, and that's all running off of that one power supply block. So the other thing I added, just to make my life easier at 2 in the morning, this outlet here, that's one of those new Wi-Fi outlets, so I can turn the whole power of everything on from inside the house, and I can shut it off from inside the house. For power for this scope, I've got this heavy-duty 70-watt Shoemaker that I've soldered the right attachment to plug into that power hub, and that works great. There's no lack of power going up there. The power hub keeps everything nice and tame. And for running the 2 separate mounts, all I have is this power supply here. That powers just the mounts and nothing else. So that one's runs some cameras and everything on this scope. The other wall wart runs that Nook, and that's it. And it all works out, and it's relatively neat. So once again, it's not going to hook on anything should either one of these setups start spinning around like a ceiling fan, which they haven't since I started using the new program. So that's about it. I will put this up on YouTube and send you a clip. Enjoy.